So
Then
don't
we
worry
can
about that.
start bullshit now. So it's light is on.
Hi, Wine Merchants team. Welcome to another episode of Apericena. Today we're going to be going over the second half of our interview with Brian Mallie from the Kowalski's chain. Hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, Brian is here, and he's gonna just tell us a few more things about wine. So people are buying differently, mostly more in their comfort zone. How do you see the market going in 3 months? And how do you make your customer look at your shelf and decide to buy a wine?
Good. Well, in 3 months, I don't, none of us have seen this before. Depending on when restaurants open and how quickly they bounce back and how we're all still feeling about staying 6 feet apart. I don't know a wholesaler who hasn't been significantly impacted by the restaurant closures. I think there's going to be a lot more backyard barbecues and a lot more wine consumed on the patio or the deck than there would have been if it was just a normal summer. Where we put them, putting those items in our cooler. So the cooler set. I think every good salesman knows that the cooler set is really important. But for us, it's a way to get people, if we're limiting their selections by what we put in the cold case.
Yeah.
And we're hoping to draw attention to the things that we know that they should be drinking. It's just they don't know they should be drinking.
So do you have anything you want to say to our team?
I think the best salespeople are frequently good listeners. They have to walk a fairly fine line between what your bosses want you to bring me and what I want to see. But something I don't see a lot of, I think I see the good salespeople do it. Walk the floor, walk of your accounts. See what it is they've got and where they put it and what they seem to be focusing on or doing well with. And that just kind of gets the wheels turning. It's like, as you may say, well, I have a wine that would fit that. Why didn't I get a crack at that? At that spot or that stacker or that, or that shelf placement or, I think you've got to be, you've got to walk that floor and see what, philosophically what it is that retailer is trying to accomplish, and then kind of tailor your approach to really what it is they're looking for and how they operate.
What would you think is a good strategy for us approach to a customer that it's only ordering by phone or email?
But even we're doing some of that, and we've got a policy, but we're not seeing any reps right now. I do a lot of just chatting on the phone. I've had some samples dropped off. This isn't going to last forever. I can't imagine that this isolation element is really going to go much beyond the next couple of weeks, maybe month, unless things go south. For those who don't want to see reps, I don't know. I mean, I want to see my reps, but I'm respectful of my company's policies.
Let me ask one more question. If I'm your rep, right? I'm sending you an email and I'm attaching a few, let's call it virtual sheets, because I got a new wine and I love it. I think it's something you should look. Is that a useful tool?
Sure. Yes, that would be, helpful, but it wouldn't, ultimately I might not pull the trigger until I try the wine. We don't really put anything on the shelf until, again, going back to that quality. I want to be confident that the quality is where we need it to be. And
yeah.
I want to be able to put it on the shelf and kind of slot it in terms of its style. Is it old school? Is it more modern? Is it a big fruit bomb? Because we carry all of those, but we want to set the shelves in a way where we have logical choices for customer, logical price points and styles they either want or expect. Or
how many wines did you try last year? Do you know the exact number?
No, I couldn't even guess. You know, one of these years, just for grins, I should. You know, I see about a dozen vendors a week, and they have anywhere between, you know, 2 and 8 wines a piece, and then there's the shows, and so I can do 125 before my palate fries. So, and then after that, everything just begins to taste the same. So.
After that, water doesn't taste the same.
I have one last question before we let you go, Brian. What's the best food pairing you've had in the last, say, month?
Ooh, so I had braised short ribs, and then I had one of the reserve 2014 Alvaro Palacios Curillon Bierzo with that, and which is a wine that reminds me a lot of Bordeaux. A tremendous power. I think Palacios is a Mencia genius, so it was the real deal. It's the kind of, you know, there's some bottles you have. I mean, for all the cookie cutter wines out there, occasionally you just have a bottle of wine that reminds you why you love to do this, and that was one of those bottles. So, all right, thanks for joining us for part 2 of Brian's interview, Wine Merchants team. We're going to talk about the second wine that he picked out from our portfolio that really stuck out to him as one of our hidden gems. It's a wine that we don't see too much distribution on, but I've been really impressed. I went and picked up a bottle from his store today and opened it up, and it's delicious right out of the bottle. And that would be Lincourt's Santa Rita Hills Pinot Noir from Rancho Santa Rosa. It's a project of Bill Foley's family. Lincourt is a shortening and combination of his daughter's 2 names, Lindsay and Courtney. Stefano, I don't know about you, but I'll be the first to raise my hand and say I am not a huge fan of California Pinot Noir. I find a lot of them to be overripe and lacking in acidity, and oftentimes very over-oaked. And this turns a lot of that on its head. Santa Rita Hills is an appellation that's close to the ocean, gets a lot of coastal influence, and pretty high in elevation. That helps all these grapes retain really nice acidity, and this wine does a great job of expressing that. It still is very much a California Pinot Noir, right? You know, cherry flavor, almost cherry Coke, cherry cola. There is oak on this wine, but not a lot. It's noticeable, but more in a baking spice way rather than gross vanilla wood chip pudding that I get from certain California producers. And it's a really fabulous bottle of wine, especially for the price. So next time you're got somebody that's looking for a California Pinot Noir, don't be afraid to look for Lincourt. It's delicious.
Yeah, that's you know, California Pinot Noir is probably not one of my favorite, but I'm more of an Oregon French, of course. But you know, if you look, and you can find some awesome and good Pinot Noir in California.
Thanks, Wine Merchants team, for joining us for part 2 of our interview with Brian. Just stay healthy, stay safe.
Ciao. So, if you sit all day, you gotta do some exercise back here, right? So you get this one. Believe me, this is very comfortable. Better than the chair I have.